Well, hey there, welcome to the Mark Wendell Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Wendell, where we talk about life, leadership, and culture. So on today's episode, we are talking about how to live a busy and blessed life. So I just want to start off with, what is a blessing? A blessing is God's favor and protection. And I don't know about you, but I want to live a blessed life. I want to live a life where God's favor and protection is over my life. So I just want to say, if you want to live a blessed life, you have to be a blessing. And I'm getting this from Zechariah 8:13, and this is the title of Zechariah 8 is "The Lord Blesses Jerusalem." And it says, "Just as you, Judah and Israel, have been a curse among the nations, so I will save you." So I don't know about you. If I'm being saved, I'm going to count that as a blessing. So as God saves them, this is what God says right after that. "I will save you, and you will be a blessing. Do not be afraid, but let your hands be strong." So in order for them to receive the blessing, they got to be a blessing. And I want to encourage you, if you want to live a blessed life, live a life with being a blessing to other people. And I just want to say, if you take care of God's people, God will take care of you. Again, a blessing is God's favor and protection. If you want to live a blessed life, take care of God's people, because if you take care of God's people, God will take care of you. And in James 1:2-4, I love this. "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds." Yeah, I read that right. It says, consider it pure joy whenever you're going through trials. And then in verse 3, "because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." You might say, "Mark, why are we talking about perseverance and blessings?" Well, I just want to say perseverance produces trust, and trust is an invitation for a blessing. Let me say that again. Perseverance produces trust, and trust is an invitation for blessing. And I just want to read James 1:5-8. It says, "If any of you lack wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do." If you're asking, "Lord, please bless me with this," I want to encourage you, believe that. Because here in James 1, like, man, this is one, first of all, the poetry behind this is just beautiful, but this is also convicting. It's like, if you are asking for this and you doubt it, forget it. God's saying, you're not, like, this person should expect to receive nothing because they don't believe what they say. If you're asking for blessings from the Lord, again, this is God's protection and favor. That's a big deal. You got to believe that. So in James, we're talking about perseverance, and the definition of perseverance is continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. So perseverance is basically doing what you don't want to do. So I'm 23 years old, and I'm over the young adults ministry and youth ministry at my church. So I am surrounded by millennials and Gen Z. I'm also involved in the kids ministry at my church. And something that I've noticed with this younger generation is a lack of perseverance. It's like, for instance, I'll have an event going on at the church, and I'm asking people, "Hey, are you going to come?" And these youth and young adults are just like, I'll see." And I'm like, "What do you have going on?" They're like, "I don't know. I just, I'll see how I feel right before the event comes up." And I'm like, man, that's so weak. And it's like, I've talked to other people in the ministry. My cousin, he used to be in the military. I think he was a drill sergeant. And I one time I asked him, I was like, "How are things going?" And he's like, "Dude, it's terrible. All these, like, millennials and Gen Z people, they're so soft, they're so weak." And I believe a big thing of why that is because there's a lack of perseverance. Again, perseverance is continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. If y'all listen to my episode with Isaac Elsner, we talked about failing forward. Have perseverance. And I think God sees perseverance and he blesses perseverance. Again, perseverance produces trust, and trust is an invitation for blessing. If you want to live a blessed life, you got to live a life of perseverance. Why do you say that? So in Luke 5, this is a really cool story. Jesus, he was preaching, and he saw some boats available, and he was preaching from the boat, and after he was done, he saw a guy named Simon. Simon was a fisherman, and he said, hey, let's go out and let's go fishing. And Simon's like, Jesus, you don't understand. Like, you're a carpenter, and we're fishermen. We just finished fishing all night. Like, there's no fish available. They're gone. And Jesus is like, just go out, listen to me. And I love what Simon says. This is Luke 5, verse 5. Simon answered, Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets. In this moment, Simon is showing Jesus that he is willing to live a life of perseverance. Again, Simon, he doesn't want to do it. But he sees that Jesus is saying, let's go do it. And he said, because you are telling me to do this, I'm going to be obedient to you and do it. Perseverance. And if you keep reading in the story, they catch so many fish. It is unbelievable. They had to have their friends from another boat come help them. And it's this amazing miracle that would have never happened if Simon just says, no, I don't feel like it. If he would have just took the easy route and listened to his feelings would have robbed him from a blessing. Again, if you want to live a blessed life, you got to live a life of perseverance. If you can be trusted with little, you will be trusted with much. And because Simon showed this perseverance, he had an amazing blessing in his life. And then on a practical sense, it doesn't say this, but when I read the Bible, I always like to think, like, what happened after this? You know, Simon, he's doing this for work, for a livelihood. And this must have blessed his family big time. And Jesus saw that he could trust Simon with little, which would be Simon let Jesus preach from his boat, right? He was trusted with little. And then Jesus had a blessing because he knew he could trust Simon with the little and he could trust Simon with much. And again, going back to what we read in Zechariah, if you want to live a blessed life, you have to be a blessing. You know, God's not going to want to pour out his favor and protection into something that won't return that. And going back to James 1, 2 through 4, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. You know, whenever we're going through trials and tough times, that is developing our character. It's testing our character. It's testing our integrity. And I believe God watches that and he sees that to see if he can trust us with more blessings. If our character isn't developed and we don't live a life with integrity, a blessing could become a curse. If we're asking God, please bless me with finances, maybe you haven't built the character and integrity to be a good steward of more money. But if you can be a good steward with the little money that you have, God sees that, and later on he may bless you with more money, more finances, because you've showed that you are trustworthy with the little. Remember, perseverance produces trust, and trust is an invitation for blessings. After all, we have a relationship with God, and any good relationship is built on trust. And for instance, I'm not a parent, but I would say I have a good discernment with knowing what to give and what not to give kids. For instance, you know, I help in kids ministry at the church. So for instance, I am the youth pastor at my church, and I also help in kids ministry. In our youth building, we have a pool table. And our youth, they have a great time. We enjoy playing pool. You know, the pool balls are really hard. If I put a pool table, or if we put a pool table in the kids ministry, I could see that being a recipe for injuries. I could see kids throwing those hard balls at each other, and who knows what else they would come up with. Is a pool table a safe, fun thing? Yes, in the right hands, at the right time. the kids haven't developed enough to be responsible maybe with a pool table. But I can trust the teens to be responsible with a pool table because they have been developed to know, don't throw these hard balls at people. I can trust the teens with that, but I wouldn't necessarily trust the kids with that. And I have a relationship with all of them. And again, we have a relationship with God. And if we're asking for a blessing that we aren't developed for, it could be a curse. It could be something negative, and God is just developing us and growing us. So whenever we go through certain trials, we are mature and complete, and we're not lacking anything, and God can trust us with his blessings. So in summary, perseverance produces trust, and trust is an invitation for blessing. And if you want to live a blessed life, live a life with God's favor and protection, you got to live a life of perseverance where God knows that he can trust you with blessings. Well, hey, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. If you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, share it on social media, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed rest of your day. Be blessed and be a blessing.